Hey guys, before the tutorial officially begins, I would just like to say I'm sorry the tutorial is so long. I tried to put as much information as there as I could. I'm also sorry for all the technical problems I encountered while making it, and I hope you have a good time watching. Hey guys, JoulesFect here with a nice video tutorial to show you how to import your Minecraft world into Cinema 4D using GMC to object. I know that there already are some tutorials out there showing you exactly what I'm going to do, particularly FPG Animation FPG 5 has made a tutorial on this, but I don't think it's that easy to understand exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do a tutorial step by step to show you exactly what you need to do. And I'll also go into in-depth details on how to set up the lighting and the render settings for your world so that you get nice render quality while also getting the fastest render possible. So let's get started, shall we? The first thing you'll need is GMC to object. You can find it pretty easily on the internet. And once you open the application, you'll get something like this. First off, you'll need to enter your Minecraft world location over here in the top left corner. So one great way to do this, I'm sorry, I'm having mic problems. It won't be long. Alright, so one fast way to do this is to go over here, type app data, like this, enter, go into your Minecraft directory, saves. I'll be using the Castle Hill. Is it Castle Hill? Yeah, it's Castle Hill. So you just copy the link over here and paste it right here. So once you've got the location, you just hit load and it will load the map like this. You can zoom in or zoom out using the mouse wheel. So really nice graphical interface over here that you'll be able to use. And you can move it around with the right mouse button. And so this is all of the map. And you can select an area of the map using the left mouse button, like this. So I'll select this area over here. It's important to know that the bigger the area is, the more polygons that there are going to be. And if there's like 100 million polygons, it can crash Cinema 4D. So try not to make it too big. I know my computer is really good, so I know this isn't going to crash my computer, but if you don't have a good computer, just watch out for that as well. And a good way to have it import faster into Cinema 4D is to play with the height of the map. I know this map is pretty high, so in the right side of the window over here, we have two small sliders. The first one is the maximum height of the map. And as you can see, once I lowered that down, I cut part of the castle over here because the castle is really high, so I want to leave that at 256. But the lower part of the map, I don't need, for this particular render, I don't need anything that is below water level. So I'm going to take the second slide over here, which is the lower map height, and I'm going to drag it up. You can see the values over here. The floor is at 34, and I know that water level is at about 64, so I'm just going to put that to 62. And what that's going to do is that it's going to cut everything that's below floor 62, so that it's easier to import into my 3D softwares. If I were to do underground renders, I would need all those cave systems underneath the map, but I don't need them for now. I hope this helps you understand. Just one last thing, if I drag this up, you'll see the water disappearing. That's because I just cutted everything that's below floor 89. Just put that back to where it was at about 62. That's perfect. As you can see, I have my water over here, so I'm going to click the export selection button over here. Now we can go into show me more options. You have a bunch of options over here. I'm not going to go into in-depth detail what they're doing. You can click on export textures, Minecraft, and now on export. And yes, so just wait. This is going to take quite a moment, so I'm just going to cut the video. Alright guys, and, so we're back, and the program finished exporting the world into a 3D object. While it was exporting, I just the only thing I did was I opened up the Cinema 4D Release R13, and I also opened up 3ds Max. So we are going to go into 3ds Max over here. The reason why we need 3ds Max is because Cinema 4D will be able to open object files, but it cannot read the MTL textures. The MTL file that has textures associated with it, it cannot associate the textures to the object. 3ds Max will be able to do that, so we are going to use 3ds Max and open up our file. Actually, we're not going to open it up, we'll just drag it into 3ds Max. So just select the exported world over here, which is called Minecraft. Just take it and drag it into 3ds Max. Now this is going to take a while. 3ds Max is going to take some time to think about all of those polygons, and yeah, it's going to calculate everything. It's a pretty big export that I just did, so it's going to take some time. While it loads, I'll just finish explaining what I was doing. You'll also need a plugin for 3ds Max to be able to export your object into to be able to upload your object file into an FBX file that Cinema 4D will be able to read with the applied textures. So that's what we're going to do. Once again, it takes quite some time. If it takes too long, I just might cut the whole thing again. I think almost done here. Sure hope so. It's really taking a long time. I'm sorry. Oh boy, what was that? It scared me. You scared me, you fool. Alright, looks like my computer is about ready to crash up. We're almost done, I think. Okay, I just cut the video, and we'll be back once again once the whole thing has been once the whole thing has been loaded up. I'll see you in a few, guys. Finally opened up the world. As you can see over here, the textures are applied, and now we are going to export that into a FBX file so that Cinema 4D can read it and see the textures. Looks like it's sort of crashed once again, so fuck my life. Good lord, messing me up. That's why I like Cinema 4D. It rarely crashes like that. Cinema 4D is really robust when it comes to loading up things and stuff. Okay, well, it's back. So we're going to go right up here. Good lord, I'm sorry it's that laggy. Right over here, we are going to click the Autodesk icon. Come on, you can do it. You can do it, Autodesk. Don't give up on me, please. Good lord. Alright, I'm sorry guys. As I was saying, that's one of the main reasons I like Cinema 4D so much. It doesn't crash all the time. And it's a lot faster even when processing so much polygons. So as you can see, I went into export. By default, when you install the plugin I told you about earlier, it's going to have FBX over here. Just going to select a file name. I'm going to select I'm going to call it Castle Hill 3D render, et voila, save. Oh damn, I don't know where I saved the file, but anyways, and just save it as an FBX with default settings. Just click OK, and you'll see the progress down here. Let's just hope 3ds Max doesn't decide to crash once again. Let's just hope it's going to work. Done. Wasn't so bad, yeah, was it? So I'm going to, since I don't know where I put the file, I'm going to search over here the name of the file, Castle Hill. Not Castle Hulk, Castle Hill. Alright, so it should find it soon enough. Nope, I made a mistake. I'm sorry guys, I'm just... I'm not at my best today, good lord. I'm going to right click that file. Ouvrir l'emplacement du fichier, that means the file is on my computer. I'm close 3ds Max and I'm not going to save that project because I'm afraid it's going to crash my computer once again. I'm going to go over here and my disk board so it's easier to use. Alright, almost in Cinema 4D yet. Almost. Good lord. 3ds Max is really being an ass. You know what I'm going to do with? I'm going that applications has with the task manager. This is going to be bloody. Close your eyes, kids, because you're not gonna like this. Oh boy. Somebody's going to cry and it's going to be 3ds Max. I'm going to end process. Take that, bitch. Alright, so we're back. We're back now. I don't know why my computer is so slow. Alright, so Cinema 4D is opening up. We're going to load that Castle Hill file and do some nice stuff with it and configure all the settings, put some lights in there. I might just show you guys how to apply light to all of the torches in the scene, so that would be a nice thing, wouldn't it? Although I don't quite remember how to do it, so if I can figure it out, I'll just show it to you guys in another tutorial. We are going to go onto the dashboard over here and select that FBX file, sorry. Castle Hill 3D render, boom. Yes, I want it like this. Just click yes, okay. Cinema 4D is going to open it up and it's not going to crash because Cinema 4D is really good. Although it looks like it's kind of crashing with not responding up here, but we'll just wait a few seconds. Once again, I've been stupid. I'm sorry, guys. I just selected an area that was way too big. It's my mistake. I'm taking the blame for it, but damn it, this is taking a long time. Anyways, I'm sorry once again, guys. It's my mistake. I'll just cut all of these parts into the final video. We'll be back when it loads up. Alright guys, so we are back and here is our imported file with all of the applied textures. Thank you 3ds Max. Would like to apologize for a few things. First of all, I apologize for cursing earlier. This was uncalled for, so I do apologize for that. I would also like to apologize for another thing. My 3D rendering softwares are really laggy. That's because we're dealing with like 10 million polygons over here. And while recording at the same time, I think it's a little bit too much for my computer. But if it goes, we'll kind of see. If it doesn't go smoothly, I'll have to cut the video once again and cut a big part of the world, and we'll be back after that. But as of now, it looks good, so we'll just I just made this bigger to see more textures. We'll just select all the textures over here, and really important, you want to go into sampling and select none. Otherwise, your textures are going to look blurry. So that's the first step. It's really important that you do that. Afterwards, I'll just double click on the first texture over here, select all the textures like that, and just get rid of the reflection and get rid of the specular as well. And now we'll do a small test render. Oh boy. So what I do to render is I press Ctrl R. Shouldn't be too long. As you can see now, it renders out, but it doesn't look all that good. We can maybe try and get a closer view over here, just to show you that the textures are good. As you can see, it's the Minecraft textures, but we are really far away from a good result. So this is still going to need some work. First of all, one thing that I'd like to show you guys, I won't do it for all of the textures over here, but you see that grass over here? It has that black look on it, and that's because Cinema 4D doesn't know what to do with the background, so it just puts it all black, and we do not want that. So what we are going to do here, just try and find the grass, and I just found it. You see, this is the image it's applying as a texture to the grass. We are going to take that image and left click and hold it, drag it onto the alpha channel over here, paste it in the alpha channel, and activate the alpha channel. As you can see, it now disappeared. What the alpha channel does is that if you have any black on your scene, it's going to get rid of it. So that's what we did right here. We got rid of all of the black. So now that we only have the grass. You can and you need to do that for the flowers as well, for the leaves of the tree. Anything that is quite transparent, such as the windows, the leaves, the doors as well. You'll need to do that for the doors. I don't know if I can show you guys. Sorry, I can't. So you'll need to do that for all of your textures. Since we have tons of flowers over here, I can maybe just do this really fast for the flowers. Just drag it into the alpha channel. Drag it into the alpha channel, activate the alpha channel, and we're done. Same goes for the yellow flower over here. Drag it into the alpha channel. This does take some time, but you need to do that for all of your transparent textures. So it can take quite some time. Now, the other thing that you want to do, and now we're going to start playing with the render settings. You want to come over here, and first I'll show you guys how to create multiple renders so that you can test your renders, you can have your final renders. So first off, I'll call this render final movie. In general, in output, I'll select film. I like to select HD TV 720 29.97 frames. Select that, select all the frames because this is going to be our final movie. That looks good for this. We come into the save folder, select some place to save our file. Just going to save it on the dashboard over here. Save final movie. I'm going to call it final movie. Alright. It's going to be an AVI file. We're going to leave that as it is. Now into the anti-aliasing, I'm going to select best and animation, and instead of 4x4 to get a little bit faster renders, I'm going to select 2x2. If you see that your edges aren't so soft, you may want to come back to 4x4. That being said, we're going to go into options over here, and to get a faster final render setting, we're going to put instead of 15 over here, we're going to put let's say 8 over here, and 3 into the reflection depth. This is going to really impact the render quality, but you can kind of play with these settings until you find something that looks good enough and that renders fast enough for you. So these settings are really important. You have tons of settings over here as well, but these three are really important. I find that 838 is kind of good to go. Now we are going to add some effects, and these effects are really important. First off, ambient occlusion. Depending on the size of your scene, you'll want to change these values. And if you see that it's too grainy, you'll want to increase both of them. But we are going for now to put 5 into the minimum samples and 32 maximum samples. That should be enough ambient occlusion so that it doesn't look grainy, but it should give a nice soft edges and shadowing to our scene. We're also going to add some global illumination, and right away I'm going to go over here and put the global illumination to low, otherwise it takes way too long to render. And I'm also going to come over here, since this is going to be our final render. IR still image is not going to be good. You'll have some flickering lights into your scene, so you want to have IR camera animation. And once you render your final setting, you'll also see that it will calculate the whole global illumination for your whole scene, and afterwards it's going to start calculating your images. Yeah, so that's how the IR camera animation works. You can also put IR plus QMC camera animation, but it can take a lot of time. We could also use the physical renderer instead of having the standard renderer like this if we were into R13, but I'm not going to go into in-depth details about the physical renderer. So now that we have our ambient occlusion and our global illumination, we'll just try a quick render of that scene. And just before I do so, I'd just like to fix the leaves so that they become transparent. These weren't the white ones. Are these leaves? Nope. We find them won't be too long. These are leaves. We don't have any jungle as of now. Fine. We'll just cut that to the other channel. Alright. And now I think these are the right ones. Oh, I'm not sure. Actually, this is taking some time, but it's really important that we do that because we'll have a great impact on the render results. I'm trying to find right leaves over here. What do we have here? We have cactus. Nope. It won't be long. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience and time this is taking. It's taking forever. These ones. That's the grass. That's the lines as well should be the other channel, as well as windows, as well as glass. I mean, the glass and the size. Well, I can seem to find it. Is that it? Yeah, finally. Boom. Since all these become transparent, now we're going to render. Let's see how we're going to close that. We've got a big part of the map. Usually it's working well for my computer. I can work with environments that are that big, but as of now, this is not working for me. So I'll just be back in a few. I'm sorry, guys. Now my computer crashed. Oh, awesome. Hey guys, JoulesFect here with the last part of this video tutorial. I'm sorry this took such a long time to make. I still wanted to go into in-depth details to tell you guys how to make everything and how to do everything. As you can see here, we have a really nice render of our scene. I just cutted the whole thing. I also figured out the whole problem I've been having with that particular scene. The thing is that there are lots and lots of trees and flowers and stuff, and that makes for a really big amount of polygons. There were like too many polygons to render, and that made my my computer crash because I didn't have enough RAM to store all of these computers while the program was opened. So the problem wasn't with 3ds Max, it wasn't with Cinema 4D, it was just with the area being way too big. So I'll show you guys how to get a nice render like this. So what I did while I was away, as you can see here, we have our final movie that we worked on previously. I didn't change anything to the settings. I lowered a little bit the maximum samples and the ambient occlusion so that it renders out faster. Over here I didn't change anything really. I also added object glow because I really like it, and lens flare for our sky, and I'll also show you guys how to get a nice sky like this one with nice clouds and a good lighting for your scene, and shadows as well. That's really important to have a good render. I'll also show you guys in this in the last minutes of this tutorial how to make nice water for your scene. So water that looks pretty much like this. I'm sorry, just take a second, I'll show you. Alright, here we go. While it renders out, it takes quite some time to render that particular scene. I would have to work a little bit more on it, but as you can see, it looks pretty good. That water looks really slick. Don't care about that part over here. Of course, it looks like rubbish, but we only want to see the other part up here. And as you can see, it has this nice, really nice blurry thing to it. Alright, so how did I make that last scene? One more thing that I would like to tell you. I took this final movie, I copied it, so I right clicked, copy, copied it like this and pasted it, and called the other one, and called the copy text picture, and in the picture, I'm sorry, I went into the save over here, and instead of having a video, I leave TFF PSD layers, or maybe choose like JPEG, and give it some name. And instead of having all frames, you just come over here and select current frame. And what I like to do is to select over here into the screen, that is my screen resolution, so I choose that resolution. And with the current frame setting, once I have this picture render settings selected over here, every time I click the render button, it's going to render as a picture the area I have selected, and that's really handy to make backgrounds, to make screensavers for your screen. It's really nice. So what I like to do is have a final movie render with all of my settings set so that I have the fastest render possible, while also getting a good quality for my final movie. I also like to create another setting which I like to call fast render, which I use to create test renders of my files. So in the output over here, I generally choose like 640 by 480. Once again, all frames and stuff, and I don't put any effects in there. I put like 8, 3, and 8 once again. So yeah, this is a really fast render, and just select into the output an AVI movie, so you can have a really fast render of your whole scene before you do your final render, to check if everything is right. You can check if you have flickering lights, if you have lighting problems, because in that specific view you can't see everything. So it's always great to have some test renders, and you can alternate easily between making screensavers, doing fast render settings, and rendering your final movie to have a great workflow. So I find that is working great for me. So what did I change in this particular scene? I didn't change much. I will just hide the sky object for now. So if we render that out, that's pretty much where we were before my computer crashed before. As you can see over here, if we wait a little bit, actually we won't see anything because there's no light and global illumination is turned on, so it's looking for some lighting source. And yeah, so it's all black, so we need to add either a light to our scene. You can come over here and select any kind of light you want. Where's the light? Here it is. and now I could render it out, it would do something, but I just prefer to add a sky. We'll just take a look at how this looks with the light. Alright, just a moment. As you can see, it looks kind of good, but it looked better with our sky. So what we are going to do is come over here into objects, sky, and create sky. So now we have our sky object over here. We are going to add an atmosphere, clouds, volumetric clouds, sunbeams, and that should suffice. As you can see, the sky isn't as colorful as the one I had before, but we're going to come into time and location over here and select, let's say this time. We're also going to modify the H rotation of our sky so that, yes, we have good lighting as we had before. Into sky, we are going to check use warm colors and use chroma colors. As you can see, the colors of the sky is more vibrant. We're not going to check use warm colors for now. May give it a little bit more intensity. Light intensity ratio, crank that up as well. A little bit more gamma corrections just to give more vibrant colors to the sky. So I'm going through this really quickly, but with the sun, you can have area shadows checked. This is going to take a lot longer to render, especially over here, because we have lots of shadows because of our trees, but it's really going to give a nice render quality to our scene. So we'll try, we'll just give more intensity to the sun, and maybe play with these colors a little bit. Alright, that should look better. We'll just try rendering that out to see how it looks. Shouldn't be too long. We're almost done with the global illumination. As you can see, global illumination takes some time to calculate on its own. But it gives a really nice render quality to your scene. Yeah, so this scene looks really good. It takes a long time to render though. As you can see, if we were to render the whole scene, it would take really long to render. What we could try is like, and what I also like to do is add a camera to the scene, and you can move around using the camera. And one quick tip for you guys, if you want to use cameras for your scene, you should wait until you can just use one camera like this to see how the angle looks. Make your whole animation and then place your cameras and make your camera movements and stuff. It's a lot easier to make animations that way. Well, it's my personal opinion, but I really think that it's a lot easier to work with your camera movements once the whole animation has been done. So we can try and see how this scene renders out from this particular point of view. I'm sorry, this is probably taking a really long time. Alright, so we have some more time on our hands. I'm sorry this tutorial is really long, but I want to go really in depth on how to make this. As you can see, there's like this small atmospheric look to our scene. That's because of the atmosphere that we added to the sky. It can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing depending on what you want to do. So it's really important that you choose that you add it if you want it or not. As you can see, it looks really good. We have a nice forest over here. It looks like on a cloudy day with the sun setting down. It looks kind of good. So yeah, it's that easy to make a render that looks that good. I still preferred the other sky object that I made. So you really need to play with all of these settings over here. I'm not going to go through them all. If you really want me to do a sky tutorial, a tutorial for the sky object, I could make that in another tutorial. I learned a lot, and I pretty much played with all of these settings. You can also add volumetric clouds to your sky, which look really realistic and look really great. So yeah, anyways, we're going to delete that sky and get our other sky back over here. One last thing I want to show you guys. So you really want to have either a sky object with area shadows on the sun, or light with area shadows on it to have nice shadows. You could also select ray traced shadows and make them a little bit more pale. That would render a lot faster. I could make a test render over here to show you guys. As you can see, it will the scene is going to render a lot faster, and we might not even see a big difference. So you can either try ray traced shadows. They don't look as good as area shadows, but sometimes you don't need all of that fine detail into your shadow. And if you leave the ray traced shadows to pitch black, they're going to be way too dark, and they're going to black out all of your scene. So as you can see over here, we still have a really nice render quality with nice shadowing, while also getting a really faster render results. So that's a good thing to do. I could also make the shadows a little bit more pale, but anyways, so that's one thing you can try to do. If you want to have even faster render settings, what you can do also is turn off global illumination, and to emulate the global illumination, you can come over here, and you can add an area light to the scene. We'll just take that area light, drag it over here. As such, we'll rotate it 90 degrees. So just press R, take that red band over here, 90 degrees as such, and now we'll make it a lot bigger. So press T on the keyboard and just scale it up, scale it way up. Actually, we don't want it to be that way. I think that the lighting is going to go into the Z direction, so we wanted to flip it around the other side like this, so that the Z band points down. And you want to make that as big, or almost as big, as your whole scene, just up here. And that could be a nice alternative to global illumination. So if you want to have faster render settings, you can try that out. One thing that we can try out for now, I turned off global illumination. You could also play with the settings of this light, like not make it as much shiny as it is now, and maybe we'll have faster render settings. As you can see, this renders a lot faster than it did before, and it still looks really good. It doesn't look as good as it did with the global illumination, but if I put a little bit more lighting in there, maybe it's going to look better. Yeah, as you can see, it looks pretty good. It looks almost as good as our global illumination did, but it renders a lot faster. So that's one thing that you can try to do. While always getting a nice render quality, you can really play with the settings of the light, of a big area light that you put above your scene to emulate global illumination. It doesn't look as good, but it can be a good alternative sometime if your scene takes way too long to render. So that's pretty much it. The last thing I wanted to cover in this tutorial with you guys, and once again, I apologize for this tutorial being so long, but I think it's quite nice for me to take the time to show you all of these things. I hope you find them useful. I will show you guys how to make the water we talked about before. And once again, we are going to keep these fast rendering settings, and take a small look at the water. It looks kind of weird over here. But yeah, anyways, it's because of the hard shadows. As you can see, hard shadows don't look all that good. I'm going to put area shadows back. This should look way better. I'm going to put a little bit more lighting to this light over here. Alright, that should look way better. As you can see, area shadows take a long time to render. They really are a pain in the ass. But yeah, anyways, we'll get back to our view over here of that small river, and we'll be tweaking that water. So yeah, just render this out pretty quickly. Actually, what I'll do is I'll make an interactive render region that I'll put above the water over here, so that it keeps rendering the water, so that every time I change something, I'll be able to see what the water looks like. So as you can see, that water looks pretty slick. We have our material over here, which I just saw for the water that was being used in the scene. So this was the water. I just overrided it, and it just worked. So what do we have here? This is a material that I made that I like to use in my scenes. You can make one for yourself. So first things first, you come into color over here, and you'll want to add a noise. Actually, I think I'll just start with a new material to show you guys, and we'll try to make something that looks almost as good as what we have now. File. I will just save the file for now, because this is actually a project I'll want to use and render later on to make an animation. What the hell? File, new material, thanks. So here we go. We are going to copy new material over here and try to make it look as good as it was looking before. So in the color texture over here, I'm going to choose a noise, double click the noise. I'm going to choose like 2 blue colors. So I'm going to select that color, and maybe a little bit more green, like that color over here. You always want to have a dark color and a lighter color. Instead of selecting noise like this, I'm going to take yeah, this looks really good. I think it shouldn't look all that bad. We'll just take a look at how it looks. As you can see, doesn't look at much for now, but we'll take the global scale down, maybe increase the low clip. I don't. We'll reduce the high clip a little bit, and yeah, play with these settings a little bit. As you can see, this looks yeah, this looks quite good for the moment. I'm also going to put some transparency in here, not 100%, but like maybe just enough. Like 40% shouldn't be too bad, or maybe it's going to be a little bit too much. We'll see about that. Actually, we can put more transparency in there. Yeah, as we can see now, we start to see through the water, and that's really good. That's the transparency that we want to use. I'll put 16. That should be enough. Once again, reflection like this shouldn't be bad at all. Maybe more reflection, like 46. Anyways, we'll also come into the bump channel over here. Once again, select noise. Now we will edit that noise so that it looks good. We are going not to select the normal noise, but we are going to take electric. Maybe electric could look kind of good. We are going to increase the global scale of it so that it looks better. It doesn't look that good. Actually, my colors are kind of weird colors over here for water. So we'll just take we'll keep that color, but instead of the green that we had over here, we'll select a grayish blue. That should look a lot better. We'll just wait for that render region to, yeah, that looks a lot better than it did. Maybe just put a little bit more blue. and lighter blue like this. Yeah, that should look good. All right. So we are going to have a light watt over here. If we come into bump over here, we'll get back to our material, to the material we were working with. You will want to have animation speed at about 0.3 so that your water moves realistically, but depending on the size of your scene, the relative size of the displacement, maybe you'll want the animation speed to be slower or faster. That's why you'll need to render it with the fast render that I talked to you about before to see if your water moves realistically. I'm going to put more reflection in there. At about 75 it should be enough. So I want to have more reflection to that water. Maybe that's a little bit too much. We'll just drag it down. And once again, just come back into bump map over here. Maybe drag the global scale of that bump map way down. And come into the bump over here and put a little bit less bump. That shouldn't look too bad. If you put a lot of bump map, it can take a long time to render. What you can do also is put some displacement in there. I'm not going to go in depth on how to do everything, but if we take a look at that water over here, I will get rid of that interactive render region. That shouldn't look too bad. I hope you guys, it doesn't look that good either, but I think you guys understand how you can tweak the settings to get a nice render for your water. As you can see over here, it doesn't look all that bad. It's just the colors, pretty much the colors I chose are not that good. And you can also play with the specular. Specular is really important to get nice shiny water. So just choose some, and maybe just come back over here into our camera. Get back to see some of the specular with the sun. Up. I'm sorry, shouldn't be too long. Alright, I'll put a smaller specular on this one. So reduce the white so that it isn't as large as it was. As you can see over here. That should look kind of good, but I'll also change one of these colors over here. This one a little bit more blue, like this. It should look better, maybe. So we'll try it out. We'll see how it looks. Yeah, the first water I had really looked a lot better. Damn it, it doesn't look great at all. I'll need to reduce that. Maybe, yeah, that should do it. Doesn't look good at all still. Well, you can really tweak all of these settings a lot until you get what you really want. But yeah, maybe we'll take a look at what I did over here. Yeah, I did pretty much the same thing, but I tweaked the setting in a better fashion so that it just basically looks better. And I also have some displacement over here, so that that material looks actually looks a lot better. I think that the bump map over here is way too high. So if I were to have a lower bump map, it would be a good thing for my scene. Also over here, there's like too much contrast going on. So maybe maybe increase, yeah, put it back like it was before, and yeah, I'll try to render that out to see how it looks. It should look a lot better. Sorry. Alright. Yeah, it really looks like crap. Sorry for that, but I think that you guys still understand how we can yeah, make those textures. So how I made those water textures over here. Actually, I don't know what looks so bad over here. Maybe there's too much reflection. Maybe it's our color channel, but yeah, it really looks bad. If I try it out once again. Damn it. If I should take a larger view of that water over here, I render it out like this. Yeah, it doesn't look as good as it could. The other water I made looks a lot better, but I think that you guys understand the point. It's all about playing with the bump map, the transparency, your color channel, and your specular to have a shine on your water. And also you can get some displacement in there. It looks really good as well. So thanks for watching, guys. This is pretty much the end of the tutorial. If you have any questions whatsoever, just post them in the comment section below. It will be my pleasure to answer all of them questions. I hope you guys had a good time watching, and see you soon for another tutorial. Thanks a lot. See ya.